In many of my videos, I use hydrogen peroxide to remove set-in carpet stains, and a question I get a lot is it safe to use hydrogen peroxide on colored carpet? Or will hydrogen peroxide bleach colored carpet? So that's exactly what I'm going to talk about in this video. First, I'll demonstrate how I use hydrogen peroxide to remove set-in carpet stains. Then I'll do a color loss test with both bleach and hydrogen peroxide to see if or how these two different oxidizing agents affect the color of my carpets. And finally, I'm going to go over a few rules around using hydrogen peroxide for carpet stain removal. Let's start with a quick demo on how I use hydrogen peroxide to remove set-in carpet stains. So these two stains are set-in stains. I have tried my best to remove them using a spot removal method with several different types of cleaning agents, and the stains don't budge. On a microscopic level, there are tons of tiny unwanted red and blue pigments that have become permanently stuck to the carpet fibers. Now, since I can't get these unwanted pigments out of the carpet, I'm going to use a chemical reaction to destroy them. This process is called stain removal. So here's how it works. I'm going to start by spraying the affected area with 6% hydrogen peroxide. I'm using salon grade hydrogen peroxide known as 20 volume clear developer. After applying the hydrogen peroxide, I'm going to add a few sprays of household ammonia cleaner. Next, I'll cover the stains with a piece of plastic wrap and place a pot of hot tap water on top of the plastic wrap. Normally I use a pot with a lid and insulate it with towels, but in this case, I want you to be able to see the stain removal progress, so I'm using a transparent glass container, and I'll just reheat the water as it cools down because hotter water adds energy and it speeds up the rate of reaction. Now, as you can see, the stains are starting to disappear. The hydrogen peroxide is reacting with and destroying the unwanted pigments, causing them to lose their color properties. So in a nutshell, that's how I use hydrogen peroxide to break down set-in carpet stains. Now the point of this video is to test this same stain removal process on several different types and colors of carpet to see if hydrogen peroxide causes any damage or bleaching to the carpets. As I mentioned in the intro, I am also going to do a test with chlorine bleach so that we can compare the difference between bleach and hydrogen peroxide. So let's start with the bleach. I have a small piece of carpet. I just poured a small amount of bleach on it, and now I'm going to allow it to sit, and we'll check back on it in a few minutes. Now for the hydrogen peroxide test, I'm using 3 different types of carpet. This wall-to-wall carpet is the same carpet that I just poured bleach on. I also have 2 other colored rugs that I'm going to test as well. For this first test, I'm using 20 volume hydrogen peroxide, which is 6% hydrogen peroxide. So I'll spray the hydrogen peroxide, I'll spray the household ammonia, I'll cover the affected area with plastic, then I'll place a pot of hot tap water on top of the plastic wrap. As I'm doing this first test, let me explain the simple science of what is happening here. Oxidizing agents like bleach and hydrogen peroxide want to break down pigments. If a pigment is broken, it loses its color property and becomes invisible. So when we are using an oxidizing agent to remove carpet stains, what we want is for the oxidizing agent to break down the pigments that are causing the stain and to leave the other pigments in the carpet alone. Now, most stains are caused by organic pigments, and virtually all carpets are manufactured using synthetic pigments. Organic pigments are fairly easy to break down, and synthetic pigments are quite difficult to break down. So as I remove these pots, we can see that the carpet is just fine and that none of the synthetic pigments have been broken down. This is why we can use hydrogen peroxide to remove most set-in carpet stains. Hydrogen peroxide is a strong enough oxidizing agent to break down most organic pigments, but it is not strong enough to break down synthetic pigments that carpet manufacturers use to dye carpets. I want to do one final test with hydrogen peroxide, and this time I'm going to use 40 volume or 12% hydrogen peroxide. And while I do this final test, in the background, let me use this time to go over 3 rules that we should always follow when using hydrogen peroxide for stain removal. The first rule is to always start with a spot removal method before using hydrogen peroxide. I have a video titled How to Remove Any Carpet Spot or Stain in 2 Steps or Less, and in this video, step 1 covers spot removal, and step 2 covers the stain removal method that I'm showing in this video. I recommend everyone watch this video to learn how to do both spot removal and stain removal. The second rule is always test the stain removal method in an inconspicuous area on your carpet before using the hydrogen peroxide in the stained area. A great place to do a test is in the corner of a carpeted closet. The reason it's important to do a test is just to confirm that the cleaning agents are not going to harm the carpet in any unexpected way. And the final rule is do not use hydrogen peroxide on carpet if you are outdoors or in direct sunlight. UV light causes hydrogen peroxide to split into hydroxyl radicals, which have a slightly higher oxidation potential than hydrogen peroxide, and in some cases could damage your carpet. So back to the 12% hydrogen peroxide test. The hydrogen peroxide has been sitting in the carpet for 10 hours, so let's remove these pots and see if there is any carpet discoloration. Note that 12% is very strong, and I'm not recommending it be used for stain removal. In fact, I recommend that you do not use 12% as it is not necessary and most stains can be removed with 6% hydrogen peroxide. So I've tested both 6% and 12% hydrogen peroxide, and just as expected, neither of these tests resulted in any carpet discoloration. Speaking of carpet discoloration, let's check back in with the bleach test. Bleach is a much stronger oxidizing agent than hydrogen peroxide, and it has the power to break down both organic and synthetic pigments. Even after just a few minutes, we could see the bleach was already breaking down the synthetic pigments in the sample carpet. So to quickly recap, hydrogen peroxide is known as a color-safe bleach because it has a high enough oxidation potential to break down organic pigments, but it does not have a high enough oxidation potential to break down the synthetic pigments that are used to give our carpets color. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions about this video or about stain removal in general, please leave a comment below. I'm always happy to engage with you guys and respond to any questions you might have. If you're looking for information on how to remove a specific stain, please check out our stain library at thestainguide.com.